Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Kira,
And I'm Alma.
and you are with the Spirit Bubble, where we host a multitude of casual conversations with each other that hopefully enlighten you in your spiritual journey.
Yes, that's the hope. Fingers crossed and
Yeah.
prayers to heaven.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're watching and listening to this, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you're able to get something from this because we have so many other discussions that we've posted and so many more to go through.
Oh, yes. I mean, we could just talk endlessly. It
we
just effortlessly flows between us.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, and I think, this moment being together, it was created for that specific reason.
I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, definitely. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today is using the power of your thought. So, the thing is, did you know that your mind alone has the power to change a situation in the way in which you're able to handle it? Your mind, just your mind alone.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big lesson to learn, right?
It is, yeah.
Because, you know, we're one with our thoughts all the time. You can't be separated from your thoughts. They're
Mm-mm.
with you as you go through this life. But how many of us are really aware of our thoughts and how the deep meaning behind them and how they filter into our activities during the
Right.
day? Like it's definitely a good subject to dive into.
Yeah, absolutely. And how they radiate on the outside, because our thoughts can affect our actions. It can affect what we say and what we do and how we feel.
Right. Absolutely. In my personal journey, I've had to really grapple with understanding my thoughts, and with the bipolar part of me, the insane
Mm.
part of me, you
Oh,
know, I my thoughts weren't always in control, and they weren't always the most pleasant or
oh.
easy to digest.
How did you
And so
deal with
part
that?
meditation was the thing that really helped me, along with getting counseling and therapy and taking the medicine I needed, all steps that helped me get to where I am. But really, the one thing that started working a lot was practicing meditation. At first, it was removing me from all outside stimulation to try to focus on my thoughts and come to peace with them.
Hmm.
But after time, I realized my meditation pulled me out of the world and into the inner world of my thoughts. Well, I didn't want to be lost in my inner world. I wanted to be out connecting with people, doing something, living, being me.
Yeah.
And so it was by meditating, bringing a meditative mind to every moment, that I was able to kind of make peace with my thoughts.
Okay. So you made peace with the thoughts that were going in your head, and I assume you must have made a decision to change the thoughts.
Yes, I remember that decision. I was living in a house that when we started renting it, it was infested with cockroaches and just a real shack of a place to stay. So I was in a dark, dark
Mhm.
place in my life. And I I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I was spending my moments. And somewhere in that dark time, I just made the choice, hey, I want to be happy. I want to live a fulfilled life. And so I didn't know how in that moment to be happy, but I thought, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to start acting happy until I actually feel happy all the time. And at first, it's not a habit you're into because you're used to your mindset as it is. And so changing that mindset into something new, it's hard to do. But
Mm.
with practice and focus and just patience, in time, one day I realized I wasn't sad anymore. I
Yeah.
wasn't angry. I was happy with the life I led. And it came naturally because I came to peace with my thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, so you had to understand them and then you had to work with them. You had to talk to yourself, I would say maybe in a better way. Because a lot of people
Absolutely.
they talk to themselves via their thoughts in very negative ways. The
Very much
people
so.
who tell themselves they're not smart enough, they're not really going to achieve anything, doing this isn't helping, I'm ugly, blah, blah, blah. You know, what was the phrase?
Your
Um,
own worst enemy.
yeah, but is it your head listens to your heart or your heart listens to your head? As one of those two. But your thoughts can really have a major contribution into how things turn out around you. Now, it's not to say like you can't just think, oh, I want $1 million. And then tomorrow wake up with $1 million in your bank account. It doesn't, there are physical limitations. There are things that you can't control. There are things, but you can use the thoughts. Like, if you did want $1 million, you could use the thoughts to be like, you know what? I'm tired of living this paycheck to paycheck. I want to be able to live comfortably and I can make this happen. This is my dream. I can make it happen. And from there, it's going to change your energy. And when your energy is different, it's going to attract what you need to achieve that. So you are altering your situation just by putting yourself in the right mentality with the right thought.
Absolutely. I mean, that's very well said. Yes. By changing your energy, it's putting out into the universe what you most wish to see, what you're focused on, what you feel good about. And so the universe is all too willing to send that right back at you for working so hard on feeling good. So you get it back.
Yeah, like we had our Black Friday sale, and most of the time it's very chaotic. We usually have all registers on hand, lines constantly going, and it's just one of those holidays where, like, as a retail worker, you tend to dread it. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get this Black Friday over with. It's going to be terrible. But the night before, you know, I could have told myself, oh, well, tomorrow is going to be horrible because it's going to be busy. And I probably would have woken up with that reality because that's the reality that I set for myself. Um, but instead, I decided to put myself in the mindset and give myself an alternate set of thoughts. I thought, okay, well, tomorrow's going to be busy. It's like this every year. There's nothing you can do to change that. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take the best of this moment to make the biggest difference in the people's lives that I come across and I talk to when I wake up. I'm going to use this opportunity to share the positivity and be a joyful presence rather than a nagging negative one. And the day was good. I had set my mentality to make it a good day. I said, this is going to be a good day. That thought to myself, telling myself, you know what? Hey, this is going to be a good day tomorrow. And it was.
That's awesome. See, and that's exactly what we were talking about. You made that choice to think differently, to do it differently, and you were rewarded with a good day because of it. You didn't go in with negative expectations. Instead, you flipped it on how you can be a present part of the good in the day, even with it being out of control and chaotic or, however busy it was going to be. You
Yeah.
could frame your mind and focus on what you can control. And by doing that, it led to a better day for you to experience.
Yeah, definitely. And the same can be said about, say, like anxiety. You can help your own anxiety. I know this is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound, what's the right word where it's like natural remedy, like no medicine and stuff.
Oh, what's that called?
Uh,
I'm I'm drawing a blank.
but you know what
But
I'm talking about.
yes, homeopathic.
Yeah, kind of like that, but in a mental sense. You could even help yourself out of a state of anxiety by telling yourself, okay. I know this is what feels like it's going to happen, and everything feels like it's going to be bad, but it's not. This is just my thoughts trying to trick me. Let me insert some different ones. Okay, I can handle this. Let's do it. You know?
Yes, absolutely. And if you do have that anxiety and that's something that you deal with, those thoughts, I call them thought spirals because you can't know. And anxiety is about an unknowing, a fear, a doubt, something not quite light filled, right?
Yeah.
And so by inserting into your mind positive thoughts to reflect upon, it can help you feel better. But what I was thinking, for those that can't naturally correct themselves in their mind, take notes, remind yourself on paper, hang it on a wall, post it,
Yeah.
whatever. Like those little notes that this too shall pass, things that keep you motivated and
Right.
focused on the light in the moment. Those are great ways to defeat that anxiety.
Right. You got to start inserting beneficial beneficial messages rather than those that pull you down. You know, you change your thought, you change your thought pattern, and you can change the essentially the environment. You could really there's so much you could achieve if you just utilized your thoughts in the right way. Even people, you can
Yes.
influence people with your thoughts.
You know, I feel like I'm a living example of that very thing. Like prior to learning to make peace with my thoughts and making that choice to be a happy person, I
Yeah.
was in a really dark place and I was difficult to know and be around. And so the energy that I was putting out in that time was highly toxic and negative. And so it repulsed people from my life, sent them packing. But when I started focusing on those positive thoughts and the happiness and the
Yeah.
appreciation and gratitude, those those powerfully positive energies started to radiate out from me and I believe go forward to make connections with people when I cross paths with them. And so it lifts the moment. It helps make it better and it sends out into the universe something beautiful for you to connect with later on in another moment.
Yeah. It's like our thoughts are almost like spiritual energy.
Ooh, I like that thought a lot.
Yeah, it's just you can choose what you want to put out, which ones you want to focus on, and then depending on what you did focus on is going to affect what happens around you. You know, you can influence people with your thought by carrying confidence. You could repulse them away with negativity. Um, there's so much that you can do. I mean, even in the world of, you know, like the psychic spirituality, you know, there's more that you can do even with your thoughts. You know, by using your thought to set an intention, you put that energy out. Like when I'm dancing and I send positive energy to you.
Oh, and yeah, I feel it from so far away. We're on other
Yes.
sides of the country and I can still feel it.
Yeah, definitely. Like it actually works. Or people who do energy healing, you know, like it
Yes.
can work. And I know it
But
sounds crazy thinking, oh, well, if this person has a headache, they need to take medicine. They don't need someone going, oh, la, 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 la. But it can work, actually.
it really can. And I think that's the power of positive thought. The belief, if you don't believe something can happen, it's probably not going to happen for you to
Yeah.
witness. Because even if it did, you wouldn't believe it. So I think by reinforcing thoughts with positive energy, right, it goes out in the same way. If you believe it can happen, you'll get to witness it.
Yeah.
So change those thoughts to enable you to do something different.
Yeah, or even if you're on the receiving end of that healing type of energy, changing your thoughts to, okay, well, maybe this will help. Because while the other person may be trying to help you or sending you good vibes or trying to you just send out positivity to you, you know, you on the receiving end, if you're like, oh, well, I don't believe in this mumbo jumbo, I don't think that like your words alone is going to help me. Well, if you think that, it's not going to help you.
Absolutely.
You
I'm right there with you.
you have to be willing to know that it's going to help. You have to be willing to give it a shot to say, you know what? Maybe it can. Maybe this will work.
Yep, just opening that door to possibility, not keeping a closed mind to what could be.
Mm-hmm. Right? And that it just opens up a whole wide world of possibility. It's so much that you can affect.
It's so amazing to think about that. And,
Yeah.
you know, I, I remember, back in one of the hard days, I had this blank piece of paper fall into my lap and it felt like a golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
And I needed to write on that golden ticket everything I needed in my life to be happy. And so it was a small little piece of paper, not very big at all, but I hand wrote out all the things I needed, including some material things. And I focused on those things. And it's such a beautiful tale because in time, everything that I asked for was delivered to me because I thought out what would have meaning in my life. And I started focusing on that meaning. And as the way the universe works out, what you believe in usually comes to pass.
Yeah, you believed in that possibility, and so therefore it was possible. Now, if you hadn't believed in the possibility and been like, oh, well, this is just a random piece of paper, life is never going to go my way, I don't think we would have been here.
Nope, I don't think so either. And I'm so glad we made it here. So yay for that golden ticket.
Right? Like sometimes whenever I'm communicating with you and I tell you that I'm sending you some energy, sometimes I use my thought to decipher what kind of energy. If you may have noticed differences,
I
some
have
some
it
of it will be an energy of confidence. I'll in my mind with my thoughts, I will set the intention of confidence. And another one, I might set the intention of energy. And another one, maybe enjoy.
by that you get to influence in a positive way how somebody else gets to feel. And
Yeah,
that's just beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. So I hope you're able to feel the difference.
I think I am because it feels like in between different experiences, what came out of it, that sharing was different. And, you know, it's a wonderful world of magic that happens, that
Yeah,
kind of connection, that kind of ability to influence someone else's day even from afar. I think of it like the butterfly effect, where just a little bit of positive energy can go a long way to make a world of difference in reality.
yeah. Would you almost even say that you could use thought and a form of prayer?
Oh yeah. I That's definitely something I think because for me, my thoughts, I try to be in constant conversation with the divine. Like I
Okay.
want to know what the muse of the universe needs me to know in the moment. So I feel like I'm in constant meditative prayer, asking for the peace and the comfort and the knowledge to be aware of myself and the world around me. And so, yeah.
Yeah, sending using your thought to create positive requests, rather than, oh my gosh, will you please take me out of this world, to, oh my gosh, please show me what's something to be thankful for. Two
Yep.
completely different mindsets and goals, that both equate to entirely different happenings.
I agree.
Yeah, one would lead to lingering further into that dark mode of not wanting to be here, and the other one would lead to a little sliver of light, you know? And that is the start of a transformation of transforming your situation, you know?
Yep. It starts with that one step to believe there's light in the moment. If you can believe there's light, then very soon you'll be able to find it for yourself.
Yeah,
So, no matter how dark it might seem, whatever you're going through, it's real. But, you know, by changing how you react to what you're going through, the thoughts you have in response to these stimulations, it can alter the outcome of what you're experiencing.
right. And when you're talking to yourself, be kind to yourself
Yes.
because you know your soul is listening. Your heart is listening to you. Um, be kind to yourself. Tell yourself that you can do it. Tell yourself that you're enough. You know, because if you tell yourself that you're not gonna feel like it.
Yeah. I mean, how are you ever going to feel better if you're constantly tearing yourself down? When is the moderation? Where is the balance to when you're constantly attacking yourself? What comes in to stop you from being unfair with yourself? Like, this is why kindness is needed because we all want love and we all want to feel good on the inside. So you got to give that to yourself. And by being able to give that to yourself, it then becomes that much easier to share it out in the world.
Right. Um, I know one of my biggest struggles when I went into this journey was struggling with confidence and doubt in everything that was happening to me because it was all so surreal. Like, how could how could spiritual beings be calling out to me? How am I here? Am I going crazy? Am I like hearing what I want to hear because it makes me feel better? And those doubts, whenever I got to a more healed state, whenever those doubts would come into my mind, instead of caving into the, oh, well, how do I know this is real? I would actually change that and I'd be like, look, I know that this is real because my experience is I'm just feeling this way and it's going to pass. And sure
Yep.
enough, about 10 minutes later, I was back to my full confident self again.
See, you knew.
Yeah,
You guided yourself there.
I used the thoughts that was happening. I changed those thoughts in order to guide me into a better mental position. You know, like I could have just caved in and gone the rest of the day feeling like nothing was real, you know, if I really wanted to cave into that thought. But I chose not to listen to that and I chose to change it and insert a different one, you know?
Hmm. You know, it makes me think I have this sign on my front door, and it actually says, "Don't believe everything you think." Just because you're thinking it doesn't mean that it's true. And just because your mind is telling you you should feel bad, don't believe it
Right.
because you don't want to feel bad. Sure, you may have low feelings and those need processed and resolved. But just because you have low feelings doesn't mean you have to make yourself feel worse in the process. It's something that my husband says, which is feel the right amount of bad. So
Oh,
feel the right amount of bad in a situation to motivate yourself to change it so that situation doesn't happen again. And that's taking the energy and focusing your thoughts in a different direction so that you're no longer headed down that negative route.
okay, that's interesting. Yeah. But just enough to acknowledge the issue and
Mhm.
to see where it needs to be turned around so you can turn it around.
Exactly. Exactly. Because if you're too hard on yourself, how likely are you to turn it around? Because it
Mm,
being hard on yourself can lead to depression, loneliness, seclusion, isolation, a lot of
spiraling.
negative spiraling. Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, so we've both kind of essentially created our own way of using thought to like heal ourselves in those times, you know.
Hmm.
We've really kind of been able to establish that system within our own mind to be able to recognize and to be able to change and alter that, you know.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's,
It's, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's not an easy skill to learn. Negative thoughts are so easy to cave into. They're easier to cave into than the ones that can turn you around. It's so easy to give up on the world rather than to think, okay, well, maybe this person is just having a bad day. Maybe this day, it's so much easier to just give up, just drop everything and go.
It
What were you gonna
is.
say?
I lost what I was going to say, but I was just thinking, you know, I it passes quickly, so that's
Yeah.
okay. But, no, I was just thinking, I was talking to somebody, just yesterday or the day before, and they were having one of those days where everything was seeming to go wrong. And I coached them and I was like, right now, you're focused on how all of it's going wrong. And that's all you're seeing. And every time something else goes wrong and you see it as wrong, you think it's just making the day that much worse. But
Mm-hmm.
stop, give yourself a minute and just start thinking about the things in your moment that are going right, that are
Yeah.
well and good. Because I can promise you, even on the worst day possible, there's some good to be found. You still have breath in your lungs. You still have a roof over your head, food to eat. You're not in your deathbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all things that you can hold on to in light of a negative spiral that you're going down.
And just remembering that that large swing back is going to reverse to a large swing forward.
Ooh, yes, very good point.
Yeah, I think we had mentioned something about the Kabbalion.
Hmm.
That is one of the topics that it discusses, one of the principles. It talks about the swinging back and forth, right? So, like, if you have a little swing backwards, which would be like the little bit of struggle, it'll give you a little bit of reward, right? But if you have a large swing backwards, it's going to propel you so much more forward.
Yes, sorry, we had a weird noise
Yeah,
somewhere in our house.
I heard something. I was like, huh, what, like a text alert or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Huh. But yeah, the difference of the reward in fighting through that, the little swing may only give you a little bit of forward, but that big swing back, once you really start, is going to give you a huge, and that's worth waiting on.
Yes, it definitely is worth waiting on. I call it ebbs and flows
Mm,
because it seems like it pulls back, like you said, it swings back, and then however deep, dark, or intense your swing back was, your swing forward into light, good feelings, and happiness is going to be just as parallel to what you experience.
yeah, absolutely. And that's how I deal with negative thoughts that go into my head. I tell myself, okay, well, you know what? It can't swing back forever. It's going to come back forward and I'm going to feel better, you know?
Hmm. I tell myself that very same thing. I really do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, however, we are right about close to 30 minutes here, so I think we're going to go ahead and cut it off here.
All
Um,
right.
but just to kind of let you guys know that your thoughts matter, your thoughts do sway you, others around you, in your situation. If you find yourself with a thought that you know is going to hurt you or somebody else or what you're trying to achieve, you can completely control that. It's not easy, but you can change it. You can use the power of your mind to turn that situation around, to turn that feeling around. It's totally possible. It's just the power of the mind and the thought is so great. Like it's hard to understand. That's what helps the miracles within the whole spiritual world and the energy around you too. It really does create miracles when you just believe in your ability to handle it, to control it.
I agree. You couldn't have said it better. I love that. But
Yeah.
so if as you're going through and listening, if you can think of a story where you used your thoughts to turn yourself around, we'd love to hear it. Let us know how the power of your thoughts have affected your life and your journey, because we'd love to know.
Or if you have something that you're having trouble letting go of in your mind, feel free to reach out. We will be glad to help you give that positive boost.
Absolutely.
Yes. But until then, we hope that you were able to get something from this discussion. We hope you're able to find that positive thought of the day that gives you that confidence to change your day into exactly what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Yes. So until the next video, y'all have a lovely day.
Yes.
See you
Bye.
later.